live. All right, say something.
Something.
Okay. I was starting to check for things. Okay. So we are now sending excellent connection. So now I need to go to the
I need to do some stuff real quick. Oh yeah, okay. Let me plug the
share.
It's gonna die. Alright, plug the MacBook up.
Copy video link. All right, so I'm going to jump over. Oh, I'm already in Safari. I'm going to paste this in to make sure that it works. And give, okay, that does give something. So now I'm going to take this. And I don't even have Mona on this computer, so I'm not going to share it on YouTube or on Mona. But I will drop this to you. And I will go over here. Okay. Okay, and there's that. Okay, oh. I was trying to figure out what's the best way to get Windows to shut up and stop talking to my head. Just unplug it from the Vocaster, and then you don't have to hear it anymore. Oh.
Copy. Alright, and we should be live on the YouTube.
You can subscribe too. We have 4 subscribers. Everyone can subscribe on YouTube now. Just search for Technically Working and make sure it's the right one. It's the one that doesn't have 600 subscribers. Man, did you hear that demo I posted in Slack?
Yeah.
It was not
Well, I actually
pleasant.
have to hit. Oh, okay. We are live. Okay, there. I was trying to say, like, I didn't hear me at first, but I guess I wasn't saying anything. Alright, sending Tia the link so she can watch.
Message. Hi. Good mom. March Web Cellular. Liz Ogner. 47% back notification sent. Clubhouse. 5 minutes ago. Slack. Now. A new member just joined. Say hi to Chancey. Lead in Slack. Waving hand.
Oh, Chancey just joined. Okay. All right. Do I still got you?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I switched to my hotspot on the phone because the first time I thought I had dropped connection before I texted
Oh,
you to say, like, hey,
when
man,
you
I'm
didn't
on.
hear me?
Yeah. Because one downside to the, and I can understand why it works this way, but one downside to the Zoom, I guess maybe I can't understand, but whatever. One downside to the Zoom player being your audio interface is if you're making adjustments, if the Zoom player is talking or making any noise at all, it cuts out any audio being routed over USB instantly.
Oh. That's a little frustrating.
So even a volume adjustment, like if you're talking and I start adjusting the volume because I can't hear you, like it's gonna cut you out, which ain't really helpful.
Oh,
if I'm
that's
trying to
right, because
cut it
that
up so I can-
makes a noise when you're adjusting the volume, huh?
Uh-huh. And what I was doing was going to the output settings because I remembered that it's not the over USB. There's a USB output level. Because I don't really know what Clean Feed does when you boost people's volume in the audio, and I was trying to keep it from showing up, blown out. Which reminds me, I am not recording an audio hijack.
Neither am I, but I'm running audio hijack. It feels weird, but I don't feel like setting it up because it's working. I actually have a mixer in my audio hijack. I finally understood the value of mixers when I was playing your audio on a test live stream. And I'm like, he is way too loud. He's like a lot louder than I am. And then I said, well, let's try a mixer. And it worked. So, yeah. I've got that set up. We are now live streaming to YouTube. That was easier for me to understand than what I needed to do to go set up a Juracast, which isn't saying that a Juracast. Whoa.
You heard that beep?
Yes, sir.
That crap was loud. I pressed the recorder on the Zoom recorder. Like I just like what? Wait, why is there a beep?
Yeah, that was loud. I'm going to leave that in the recording. So if you hit record, just know that if you have the beeps on, that the people who you're connected to with the Zoom will hear the beeps as well. Anyways, it was a lot easier.
Hold on one sec, because I'm gonna press it again because I think I may have held it down. Let's see.
Nope, I heard that.
Nope. Okay,
Yep.
so previously when I used this, I didn't have the beeps turned on, and when I reset it, I have the beeps on. So, yeah, didn't realize that. And people on the other end of your USB connection are going to hear the beep because
Yes.
loud.
It is very loud and slightly jarring. But a Juracast.
Maybe don't leave that in or bring it down a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'll bring it down. I'll bring it down. Yeah. Yeah. It will not be as loud as it was during the live stream. If you wanted to know what that was like, then maybe you should be listening to us live. But I'll fix it in post. Man, after I get done, Azuracast. Probably easy to set up, but I said, well, I want to eventually go to YouTube anyways. So I want to go through that process, and I verified our YouTube account last week. So I set that up in like 10 minutes and was playing around with that, and it's just working. Thank you, Audio Hijack. I don't know what I'm showing on video. Could be showing y'all. I don't really know what you're seeing. Probably just a black screen or something. I could have asked Ben, but I didn't really take the time to do that.
So you're using the Audio Hijack to stream the audio to YouTube?
Yep.
That's the connection. Okay, so I think they show like a waveform maybe, but I think it's also possible for you to add like a piece of artwork to Audio Hijack. There's some settings in there with the live stream, with the broadcast block, I think, where you can add like the logo or something to have that be what's showing. But that's not a thing to do today.
Yeah, not
We
a
got it
thing
working.
to do.
We're streaming.
It,
And
it's-
there's a delay.
there is a delay, yes. Oh, it can use album artwork or oscilloscope visualizer. I don't even know what the heck that is. Or spectrum or none. We're going to stick with oscilloscope and hopefully... Okay, I'm not making changes. Not making changes.
Don't change stuff in the middle of the stream, man. It's working. It's working. It is working. Oh man. So I have no idea whatsoever what we're gonna actually talk about on this week's show.
Welcome to Technically Working, because we never... I mean, sometimes we have more of an idea, but this week it's just like, let's see where we go with it.
Yeah, man. So any other follow up for you or other information that we didn't get to last week from CSUN?
Not so much actually, and I had to do some looking at this. Yeah, it was last week. I thought we were off by a week, but yeah, no, not that I can really think about. Did cover a lot of CSUN over the last couple of days, and I think what we went over on Technically Working last week was a majority of it. It was awesome when someone asked me today. She's like, what episode number was your CSUN coverage? I'm like, I don't think we give them episode numbers. And she's like, well, it's labeled as numbers in Castro for me. And then I went back and looked and realized that I was putting numbers on them. So this is TW55. That was TW53 is when we talk CSUN. And yeah, no new changes on that. I'm probably going to switch back to Windows, I think, for a little while as my primary computer. I'm going to still use the Mac for streaming and stuff like that. But like my get work done thing, I think I'm going to switch over to the Windows computer, the Lenovo laptop that Lenovo sent me, and actually use it for, a month or so. I recorded the process of resetting the Lenovo laptop. It was like 30 minutes. I think I need to go in and, I definitely know I will go in and clean it up. And I think it'll get down to like 4 to 6 minutes. But that was a process. And then I'm going to plug it into the Vocaster and record setting Windows 11 up on the Lenovo and publish those somewhere. Probably to technically working tip jar subscribers.
Yeah, we could do that, and then eventually maybe play around with doing like maybe some sites. This is actually a good topic because it could educate other people who don't know or inform some things that we should look into. But with the YouTube channel, so if you're listening and you hadn't heard, because I don't know when Mike's going to start the actual edit here, but we are on YouTube. Our podcast is in YouTube for one thing, so you can go find it there. And also we have a YouTube channel, which I'm assuming those two things are tied together in some way.
Yeah. I think the podcast, all it does is makes a playlist of the content that we tell it to bring in from the RSS feed.
But there should be a feed there for people to subscribe to. Well, no, I guess not, because it's not how YouTube
No, they want you to subscribe to the channels.
They want you to subscribe to the channel.
So when you go to the channel, you see 60 videos up there. But yeah,
I'm actually going to go look at Firefox and see what we're talking to. But so with YouTube, us having a YouTube channel, we could make a second playlist, I guess, would be the appropriate thing. Because what I'm trying to prevent, and the reason I'm kind of asking the question in the way that I'm asking it, because what I don't want to happen is that we start publishing videos to YouTube or audio content with a video overlay or waveform or static image or whatever to YouTube, and then you go to our channel and you have like technically working 53 because it gets a lot of views, right? According to YouTube's terminology, it gets a lot of views, and then you see a video, on Mike setting up his Lenovo, setting up Windows 11, and like I would hope it doesn't do that. We can't really do anything about it if it does, but I was thinking if we set up a playlist for ancillary content that we create, that again maybe we release to tip jar subscribers first as audio, and then eventually trickle that out to YouTube. Like give the tip jar subscribers like a week or two of exclusivity, and then publish some of that content to the YouTube channel. And the other thing is we could start doing perhaps some shorts as well. I haven't really looked at YouTube. I haven't even seen a YouTube short, meaning I haven't looked at one at all. But
yeah, I think
that seems like something we could possibly do is like some quick tips in the style of things that we've done before with the show or just dropped into the show. It's like, hey, here's a tip on how to do X, Y, Z. And then I'm over here like, oh, I didn't know that worked. It changed my life.
Yeah, I think some productivity tips would be good for the YouTube shorts if we can keep them 60 seconds or less. And it's funny because with Unmute, we're starting to do some Q&As. So either I will ask, someone will ask, we'll use an AI voice and then a contrasting voice to go, male, female, or vice versa. Ask question, answer question, and keep those 60 seconds or less because that's really what Unmute's about, is answering questions. And then we figured those will go up on YouTube, and then why not put them on Instagram? Why not put them on LinkedIn and all the other places? And it doesn't have to be unique content, but if you batch record that content, then, this day is going to be this piece of content across all the social networks. I'm going to play with that and see how that goes. Which I used to do something kind of like that with old. It's funny how, I don't think funny is the right word, but
it's ironic the way some things we've done before with content, such as dropping it on TikTok, clips on TikTok or clips on Twitter, even going back to the DM series,
Mm-hmm.
dropping little clips on Twitter back in the day. I can't remember if she put them on Facebook because I wasn't there, so I didn't see it. Uh, but doing that without, and now here we are, years later, and this is now the format of choice for a lot of people is that TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram stories. Is it
Yeah,
stories?
Facebook Reels. So yeah, Instagram
Yeah,
stories. Yep, yep, yeah.
style content now.
I'm not going on
And it's,
Snapchat, he says, as he wonders if he should go on Snapchat.
so I don't know, man. Like
I really
I
don't know
have
about that one.
I have always said, and I still kind of agree with this general rule of thumb: go to where you know or you suspect. In our case,
Mm.
because we're not really doing a whole bunch of analytical stuff. Where your audience is going to be, which YouTube again made sense for us to get the podcast on YouTube because that is a rising platform for people to find content, and that gives us another place to put it. And now that I think it's wired up, it shouldn't be, even if we just want to do the basics, that is there. Everywhere else, there's a feed for you. Search for us in your podcast app. If you're an old person that uses a podcast app, but people are on Facebook if you want to do Facebook Reels, like that's the thing. Instagram is around, and we're not just targeting the blind community, even though some of our content is specific to being blind and operating, but a lot of it is not because it's not who we're targeting. So we could absolutely release content to Instagram because that is a very popular platform, even for self-employed or small business owners. They spend a lot of time. People spend a lot of time on Instagram. Snapchat to me still feels like a
Youth.
much younger person's
Yeah.
a much younger person's social media network. TikTok seems to have managed to spread out across age groups in a way that I'm not sure Snapchat has.
Yeah.
Which is interesting considering how new TikTok is compared to Snapchat. But maybe again, Snapchat got that reputation in the beginning for being what it was, and therefore people our age, for example, don't spend a lot of time there. Although I do hear some people, mention Snapchat or they use it or they go there because their friends are there. But I don't know.
Snapchat had a little craze in the late, like 2018, 2019 with podcasters, and everyone was like, oh, get me on Snap and stuff like that. And now I don't really hear that anymore. So I will not focus there, but we'll get content in a lot of different places and come back on the strategy and how that's helped grow if we're able to observe that growth. Numbers this week look similar to what they looked like last week. So I don't think there's been I'm fairly certain there hasn't been a huge amount of growth for YouTube, but I also didn't expect anything the first, I would say, 20 to 30 days. But I think ultimately with this YouTube channel, I need to invite you because I don't think I ever did that. But B, with this YouTube channel, we could use it to go watch some of these Network Chuck videos or watch some of these other videos with that are working on some of the technology and productivity tasks that we work on as well, and then possibly start engaging with those videos. That part takes a little bit more intention behind it, but I think that's how things will start growing. Because we can produce content all day long, but if no one knows about it.
Don't do you a lot of good. But on the flip side, and we knew this going into the show.
Oh, yeah.
A part of our strategy, non-strategy, really was a strategy, which is let's just start creating the content. Because if we keep hemming and hawing or trying to plan how to do this and reaching out there, we'll never actually move on the content. And now we have a back catalog that we're continuing to build each week of content. And at least my thoughts on this as well when we started were our listeners will get to, especially those of you who have been with us since day one, will definitely get to see the evolution of the show and the evolution of our strategy when it comes to marketing and trying to build listenership to the show. Unfortunately, in a lot of ways, this is taking more of a backseat than I intended for it to because I'm not as engaged with this as I intended on being. just simply due to unforeseen stress and work dealing with BEP. And I really want to stress to people, just not because I don't want people to get the wrong idea about BEP in general. So I think it's worth me saying this because I'm not sure that I've said this in my conversations about me coping with this program. The work of the BEP class itself is not hard. What has been harder for me is all the things around BEP and being here because I am on a physical campus, a couple of 100 miles away from home, and none of the comfort things that I'm used to having. So a lot of what has been creating problems for me is, yes, I'm more worn out than I expected to be at the end of a day, which has been a part of it. But again, if you come here and like you don't have a whole lot of extra stuff that you were supposed to be doing or you're trying to maintain and continue doing, that's like, for example, my classmate who is also staying in the dorm, he has some of the same, issues with the food and stuff, but he actually eats some stuff here that I won't touch just simply because I know my stomach and, I don't do some fast food restaurants because I know it's not going to stay around long, so I won't get any benefits of it. Eating the food. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to say this so people get my point without being too what's the word?
Too graphic.
Blunt about the word. Yeah, there you go. Too graphic. Like I'm trying not to be too graphic about it, but you get the idea. You eat it and less than 30 minutes later it's gone. I'm trying. So I don't eat a lot of fast food for that particular reason too. Because I've come to understand and accept my digestive system, and there are some things I shouldn't subject it to, because then my body will subject me to some very uncomfortable situations. But he does not have the cognitive load or even the actual workload that he's trying to keep up with here, because he came here, he got off a contract job. He was working at a hotel and started the program here in January. He finished that up in December around the holidays, and that was it. Like, there's no other job for him here other than BEP. And he picked up, a part-time, working as a RA here, which is, basically hire students that show one, that show an interest, and two, the ability to, do some of the cleanup around here. So, they sweep and mop the halls and all that sort of stuff, right? So they hire students here to do that, which puts a little, spending money in their pocket. That's about all it is. It ain't a terrible amount of money. Honestly, I can pull more out of AT guys in a week than I think they get in 2 weeks. So it's a whole different thing. But, he's been able to do that without it adding undue burden to him. And I'm saying all that to say, like, the BEP program itself here isn't bad. I don't know about other states, but in Alabama, it's not a terrible program. It's not like the BEP people are beating me up every day, and it's like, oh my God, like, how did I do this? But it has been more stressful and draining than I really expected it to be. More so around the exhaustion out of after class, or just the workload of like, listen, pulling 400 pounds worth of sodas, 250 pounds worth of, sodas on a cart a couple of times a day, sometimes multiple times a week. Look, I wasn't moving furniture before I got here. That has been a little bit more, but the actual exhaustion and the lack, I think it's, like I said, it's a combination of things for me. I said this before, so we won't spend a lot of time on it, but, getting to a point that I was undernourished, and all of that also added to that, new physical stress, and then, trying to keep up with the bills and all of that. So the program overall is not a bad place to be, and it was not a bad choice for me to make. There's just things I didn't expect to have to cope with, because I assumed, hey, there's going to be reasonable, alternatives to the main meal in the cafeteria every day, and no, that ain't a thing. It's not.
Yeah.
But going back to the point I was making, like, I have always thought of Technically Working as a show that people are going to see us evolve, not only as small business owners ourselves, and to a certain extent employees with AT guys, because we do discuss some of the things going on with AT guys when we're able to, and then when it seems reasonable and fits into the show. We don't turn each show into an ad for AT guys. JJ, I still gotta invoice you.
We should bring JJ on and talk to him. I know we've talked about that, but we should.
Yeah, we're gonna do that, man. We're definitely gonna do that. we have plans for that, like to bring other people on as well, but to have conversations about their business. But I've always thought of this as also a way for people to see our growth transparently as we make changes to the show, as we do different things around the show, as we change in our businesses. Because again, I feel that it is a good informative when you can see people going or hear people going through changes, or you hear someone dealing with some of the same struggles that you are, and not just like, oh, well, I was dealing with this problem and I did this and it 10x my business. Like, no, that stuff don't work that way all the time, man.
Not that fast.
Like, sometimes you fall on your face and you have to realize that you're on your face before you know that you've fallen on your face, and then you start the process of trying to get up. So YouTube strategy coming. We'll be trying out some different stuff. And again, this is why we really like the engagement that we do get when we have the engagement from people. Feedback at technicallyworking.show.
There's
Or
an email I have
Mastodon.
not set up on my computer. Have you?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Okay, because I have not. I will do that probably in the very near
Now, if
future.
anybody has sent us an email recently, it may be buried because, and actually I should go do that because what I haven't done since I wiped my Mac is set my shortcuts up so I can switch inboxes. I do need to do that. So I can go quickly look at that inbox and check.
Hey, there's some content.
There is some content because I bet a lot of people don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I don't.
All right, let's see. Why when I type T-O did you bring up music? Like, that makes no sense. Music does not have a T or a O in it. So
I tried to live without LaunchBar for 2 weeks, and I installed LaunchBar yesterday. Because I kept pressing and holding D, expecting drafts to come up, and Spotlight's just like D, 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 D. So, yeah, LaunchBar won out. I'm going to play with this everything tool on Windows. Honestly, I don't hold high hopes, but we'll see. And I need to figure out my networking solution.
The networking solution?
So I have this hard drive here. It's the 2 terabytes, I think, is how much it is. I have less than a terabyte left, so I'm going to have to upgrade this anyways. But I want to be able to access those files from the Windows laptop. And right now, it's USB-C'd into the Mac. And I don't know if that's doable. I have not spent much time looking into how to set that up either.
So, a couple of options are available without you going out and buying more stuff right away. So one thing you could do is share that drive on the network from the Mac. So at least as long as you're home on the same network, you'll be able to see.
That's all I want. I don't want it off. Well, actually, I lie. It wouldn't be bad to have it off of the network too.
The other thing, and I don't remember if the Dream router had this feature or not. I think it does. I think it's one of your options is to set up a VPN on the router itself. So
Yes.
you can VPN back into your network. So that could be your solution if you're away from home. If you don't want to deal with trying to yank stuff and reformat and try to put it in a consistent format that both, operating systems can easily read, would be, again, continue to share that off the Mac and just VPN back into the house when you need to access that drive. Or, and this is something that I haven't had an opportunity to really spend a lot of time with, I do have it currently running on the Mac Mini at the home, but I don't have it running on the Mac here, which is Tailscale. Like, that could be a way to do it without having to set up a VPN. Just run Tailscale on the Mac, run Tailscale on Windows, and we can both kind of explore that avenue, because that would solve some problems. It would even solve some problems for us if we were able to, have a shared Tailscale network that we both had access to, so I can, reach over and drop random stuff on your hard drive. Nah.
Yeah.
But that's an option, and that is something I want to play around with. Is like the Tailscale type networks. Anyways, that also could be a solution when you're away from home scale and you're able to reach back, because that basically then will put you on the same tail network as what the Mac is on, and then you're able to talk to it like you're on the same local network, even though you're 1,000 miles away. or 3,000 miles away in Florida doing a convention.
Are you on Wi-Fi or are you on hotspot?
I am on the hotspot.
Okay, you were cutting out there for
That's
a
getting
little bit.
glitchy too, huh?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I've been noticing the past few days here that my internet connection over the hot, even my mobile data directly on the phone has been slower and glitchier than it has been being. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do if that starts to crap out.
That's disconcerting. Thankfully, you're recording locally, I hope, because I am not recording locally. Oh, you are, because we heard the beep. Duh.
Yep.
So,
Well, I'm recording in two different places. Still trying to see what this recorder does. It's a USB interface,
Mhm.
how it was recording, but I'm also recording audio hijack because I just, never
You
get
know
enough
how
backup
that's going to
for
work.
backup. Yeah, I know exactly how that's going to work. That's not so. If Mike needs to recording, I don't want to have to pull it off the Zoom and then discover, oh, that really didn't go well, or it did something weird, and you're down at 27 dB. When he brings it up, he hears the person downstairs yelling that I can hear.
So,
So
I'm,
I'm imagining you don't have this clip. Go ahead.
we may want to reload or you reload and come back because I
Hold on,
think
is it
there's a bit
lagging?
of a delay. Yeah.
All right, so give me a second. I will be right back.
All right. So Demasi has gone away. Let's talk all about Demasi. Oh, thank you to YouTube. I don't even know if anyone's watching us on YouTube. Let me go over here and I will see video link. Hello.
Feed, and now I'm back.
Are you there?
Wait.
Yeah,
Mike doesn't hear me.
I hear you.
Okay, I was gonna say. Now I came back and Mike can't hear me. So that's not good.
Let me fix your audio level here. Mark. Settings. Bring you back up to 2. Boom. There we go. So they fixed those drop downs in Chrome.
I need to install. Wait, do I have Chrome? I have Chrome installed. I just hadn't opened it because my fingers just go Command Space BB and Brave. But I think I'm going back to Chrome for the foreseeable future. Anyway, I can't do Edge. I already got Google stuff on the computer as it is, so I'll just stick with Google Chrome. As I mentioned to you, Chromium, while I would really like to use it, it gets weird at times and doesn't want to operate. So stick with the Chrome, I guess. And Firefox has been pretty good, other than the fact you couldn't hear me when we connected. But that actually has, yeah, Firefox has been doing pretty good on the Mac, which is amazing.
Because that's been something for years coming.
Yeah, so shout out to the Mozilla team if anybody listens, or if anybody listening knows somebody at Mozilla. I appreciate what you guys have been doing on the Mac, because it is a entirely different platform for them to deal with. It's not as simple as just compiling for the Mac and running it, and all accessibility works great. And I know it's not. So great job by those guys. That team of people. When I say guys, I am. That's not a pejorative term. That's guys as in everybody involved, not just males. So,
Yes.
Don't come for me on the Mastodon or the Twitter. Well, I guess you could come for me on Twitter. X.
I just saved the recording for the first time, and I don't even have a backup recording. I'm like, oh, there's something I should be doing. What am I not doing?
Yeah, so if this show goes completely sideways, no.
Mallory's out of
There's
town,
another
so
thing
my
I did.
hope is to get it edited tonight, get it cleaned up, sent out to Tip Jars subscribers tonight, so they get it. That'll put me up a little later than normal. But then if I do that, then I've I'm producing a lot of content, and I realized that the other day when I'm like, what is it that I need to work on? So I have one show to finish producing for tomorrow, and then tomorrow being Sunday. And then once I get this show done, then I will have produced all of the pre produced content that I need to until next Sunday, which means I can finally start getting a little ahead if we have the content for next Sunday show. Uh, but yeah, so my goal is to get this edited up and turned around tonight. We'll see. Tip jar subscribers, let people know if you got it tonight on Mastodon. Oh,
Yeah, and tell them that they should be tip jar subscribers.
yeah.
Too. So, what was I going? I was going to ask you about. Oh, I imagine you don't. Actually, we shouldn't play that clip in anyway. But I do want to ask you about it now because the next time I probably talk to you, I won't be thinking about it. What are your thoughts on the Zoom podcasting bundle?
I'm not the most impressed with the microphone. Um, I am also spoiled now with the Vocaster, so I have to take that with a grain of salt. For what it is, I think it could be a great microphone. It comes with a very small stand, so kind of like what was with the ATR 2100X or the Q2U. It's a tripod. It screws onto the base of the microphone, but the microphone picks up a lot of room noise. It's not directional like what I've been used to. So for me, I'm not super happy with it because my recording environment isn't the quietest, but I could see how it could be useful for some who might have a more quieter room. And I didn't realize, maybe because I didn't read about it, but it comes with headphones too. So that's kind of handy.
So, is it a typical, like, is it built similar to the ATR 2100?
It is built more like that big microphone that I tried for $380.
That was the Shure SM7B.
Yeah, it's got a very big diaphragm, which I think it's the part that you're talking to. See, now this is where I don't actually know what I'm talking about, but I'll tell Demossi and he'll figure it out. So it's got a very big area that you're talking to. It is very short and stubby. The USB-C port goes on the very back of it. On the what I would call the left side of it is a 1/8 inch headphone jack, so you can monitor yourself from the microphone itself. And then on the other opposite side of it is a volume control to adjust the volume of your voice in your computer in your headphones.
Okay, so kind of built on that style, just just more the frame of
Yeah.
the SM7B. So I guess my other question about that microphone. So you in your recording, you mentioned that you had both microphones the same distance from your mouth. So I'm guessing you put this on something else to get it elevated up so that it
No.
was, more closer. No.
No, because the Rode boom arm is so damn amazing, I just moved the microphone down closer to the desk and pointed it up and set it next to the other microphone.
Huh.
So So the Rode boom arm was going straight up and then straight back down, and then at the end the mic was tilted up a little bit, pointing towards my mouth.
Yeah, that still is an amazing.
It is an amazing purchase, well worth the money. Like, I love this boom arm. I don't care that it advertises for Rode, and you know what? There might be better ones out there, but this was my next level boom arm experience after a cheap Amazon boom arm that someone gave me for Christmas, and yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's great. Like it's great. It's even. I think I mentioned this I don't know if this was in the last episode or not, but I know I mentioned it to you when I was at home because I put a boom arm back on the desk and I grabbed and I forget who makes this boom arm now. KMS, I think.
Mhm.
Grabbed that boom arm and put it up, and like in terms of flexibility, like they work basically the same. Like they're similar, types of boom arms, but the Rode is much easier and more consistent in your adjustments. You move the Rode somewhere and leave it there, and it stays like that.
Yes.
The KMS one, I feel like it's very much in a style of that cheap Amazon newer boom arm where sometimes you'll move it and depending on the tension in the springs, it wants
Mhm.
to pop itself back up because it's like, no, I don't want to be down that low. It's like, no, but I insist you must stay this low. So I have to reach back and tighten up a knob or something
Yeah.
to make it stay, which is irritating.
The road, it
So,
just does
but
it.
you just move it and it stays. Like it's very good. I see why a lot of people like it. It does not make me feel good about. Now this KMS boom arm came in a bundle, and I bought it because I was like, well, I should get another boom arm just in case I have an issue like I did with the Rode, where that little piece got broken, and it was not holding my. I had put my mic in weird positions in order to make it stay on the end of it. I was like, I can pick up this bundle. It's only like an extra, 80 or so bucks if I do the bundle when I bought that Ethos microphone. And it'll give me a backup boom arm, just in case. I always have a spare.
Hmm.
Uh, and, it does not really excite me about buying another KMS and spending 200, 300 bucks on one of their higher end boom arms at this point. Because I'm like, despite the giant road on the side of it. Like that's still a good boom arm.
It took me a little while to be like, why doesn't AMI want my microphone in shot? Like, I would think they'd want. I bet it's the road advertisement that's there that they don't want in shot. I should
Um,
ask Megan.
I would ask because a part of it could be that because they're shooting for video and they're shooting for TV and a lot of their shows now that and they're not going for that podcaster look.
They're going more
They
for the TV look, so you want to get the
Yeah,
audio.
so you want lavalier microphone or shotgun mic if you had one of those would be preferable to a microphone kind of in your face because they want your face. So that would be a good time for a, either high quality. I wonder if they would object to a headset mic, like one of the headset, mics that just kind
Yeah.
of puts the mic closer to your mouth.
I don't think they would. I don't think they'd have a problem with that.
Or like a shotgun microphone because I think when I did my test with her the first time, I think I had on my AKGs to
Mhm.
start out, and she asked me if I had some different headphones that I could use. So I think they're not trying to get that typical podcaster look with the microphone in front of you and the big headphones on.
Yeah.
I just pulled out my little in-ear monitors. Which thankfully I left at home this time because I did buy another pair of those monitors that I tried to get you to buy. Did you?
Oh,
buy
I
those?
didn't tell you about my monitors. Huh. Yeah, remember I bought those a couple months ago, or is these a different pair?
Nope, it's the same pair.
Okay.
I just bought another pair of those because remember I lost mine. They walked away off a desk.
That's
BP.
right. When I was in DC, I took my in-ear monitors, and that is the episode that we will never go back and listen to again. I mean,
That's the episode never mentioned.
yeah,
Episode anyway.
exactly. So I had the in-ear monitors in there, and I went to stand up and just walk away from the computer, and I like bent the end of it. Thankfully, it didn't snap off inside the headphone jack, but it bent enough that they no longer work, and so I need to get another pair of those. But it was scary, man. Like as I was pulling it out, I was terrified.
So, did yours not come with two cables?
It did.
So you couldn't use the second cable?
I didn't think about them. I didn't think about the second cable. Huh.
Now, be mindful that cable does, if you're plugging them to the Vocaster, it's not going to be an issue. But if you plug them into the Mac or the Windows computer directly, be mindful that second cable does have a mic on it because it was, meant to be connected to mobile. So make sure you double check your inputs before you start a thing if you use that cable. But yeah, you use the second cable, man.
Huh. I
That's
think
the
I just
beauty.
threw them in the bag because I have a problem with not throwing stuff away. So they're probably in the bag. I'll have to go look because, yeah, that might solve that problem.
Yeah, that's why I like those for in-ear. If I'm going to use in-ears, I think I can't go back to just your standard all wired headphones because those are so useful to be able to pull the buds themselves off of a cable and get a new cable. like my really expensive ones that I have, like when that cable started going bad, like I just detached them and eventually bought another cable.
Like these
From the
AKGs. Like ever since I got
yeah,
those, I have
again.
to have. Oh, the cable on the headphones that the microphone comes with does not detach. I did look at that.
Okay, yeah, but most don't. Like
I
you,
know.
you gotta be specifically, looking for in-ear monitors, professional grade in-ear monitors. Even though these ones that you got off Amazon are like $40 or $50, like they're good, they're comfortable. They come with a lot of ear tips.
Yep.
The ear tips I think are standard type ear tips, so you don't have to, if you want to swap something out for something foam or whatever, that's an option. But I like that detachable nature because usually what happens with headphones, with any kind of wired headphones, is not the headphones or the earbuds that go bad; it's the
Mm-hmm.
cable.
Yep.
Uh, so again, like with the AKGs, like I developed a short and my cable. Actually, my AKGs when I bought them just had that super long cable. And I was like, man, I don't like this super long cable. I want a bungee cord, so I
I've
bought
bought
a
like
bungee cord.
3 headphone cables for these.
Yeah. But the headphones are great, and like they have been banged around and beat up. At some point, I need to look into probably replacing my ear cups, like the padding on the ear cups.
Yeah.
Other than
On the
that, like those
inside.
those headphones are yeah.
Yeah.
The cushions that go around your ear, like those.
Oh,
That's
not the
probably
padding that's inside the cushions.
yeah. No, not the part that actually covers up the speaker
Yeah.
part. Like no,
Yeah.
just the cup. They go yeah. I probably should look into getting a replacement for those at some point. It's not imminent, but it's something I should investigate just in case I need to do it. But I love those. I've had those since when did I buy those? It's definitely after I've been to after I moved to Alabama, I think. But I've had those for a while, and I finally convinced you to get a pair, and now they're your favorites, and
Yep.
people have to talk you into not wearing them on camera. But I've also discovered, and I'm glad that I actually tried those, and this is where Sweetwater and having a rep, Tamir is my rep at Sweetwater, but for sure this is where having a person you can talk to that is knowledgeable about audio gear or at least can go look up their stuff. Like they don't know everything about everything, they can go look it up. But they understand the audio space is because the reason I initially bought those is because the cups, unlike the headphones I have on right now, which are still great, number one, those are circular, not oval shaped, so it gives me more of a feeling of openness around my ears. And the second major thing about them is they're not completely open back, but they're not completely closed back. They're semi-open. So
Mm-hmm.
some sound from outside gets in, but there's less sound coming out of the headphones to bleed out and hit the microphone. It's more, to me at least, more audio coming in from the outside world. And right now I have on closed back over the ear headphones, and it makes me feel like I'm in one of those super soundproof rooms where when somebody closes the door, it's like poof, there's nothing. Everything is gone.
It's not like those new Tribbit headphones that you hit the
That's actually
switch.
what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm wearing, which is why it feels like that.
So Memberful's been doing pretty good for unmute. The tool, I I was happy with the ease of navigation when I had to go do some tasks in it yesterday or today, and just being able to go in and get the stuff done quickly. I'm more easily pleased by web-based tools when I can just log in, and if I know where I need to go, I can either search for that section using your search tool, or your links make enough sense for me to just go website, new post, and be able to quickly find that information. In the past, I'd have no problem with stumbling around to try to find it, but it's just so much more convenient to just get it done. Like,
Yeah, but that's my general navigation strategy anyway. Is I go to a website like once I've done it the long way, I will put it because you have to find what's there and do some exploration just to see what is available. Like I want to know a quick shortcut way to get to where I need to go and get done what I need to get done. And as long as their web tools aren't weird and strange like some of them are, I'm fine using them. So with memorable, with memberful, Let me start that whole thing over. So with memberful, I can't say memberful.
There's our TikTok clip.
So with memberful and unmute, the last time we kind of chatted about it, you were saying that they had recently changed their pricing structure. So you are still paying for it, but it
Yep.
is actually my first question, honestly, just bottom line, like, are you making enough to basically cover the cost of what it's costing you to operate it?
Yes.
Okay, so that's number one right there. You're making enough to cover that cost. That is good.
Yep.
In general, if we were to be starting up a premium thing for technically working today, would you push harder for memberful over the tip jar?
If it was you and me, yes, because you and I can go in and set it up the way we wanted to and integrate it with WordPress. That's one of the things that I'm going to work on in the near future, because I feel like with the memberful site, let me take a step back. So with Unmute, we're using their self-hosted version of memberful. The price doesn't change if we use the WordPress plugin for Memberful, but it gives us the flexibility of using WordPress, which means we can customize more of the experience than what you can currently for Memberful customers. So right now at unmute.show, we have a join the club link, which literally takes them to a club checkout page that says you're going to get charged $3 a month. Enter your information. Let us charge you here. So that checkout experience isn't as customized as I'd like to do, and I might be able to do that with Memberful's tools, but I'm more apt to configure things and set it up in WordPress because that's what I know. And then if members want to log in, they click the login link from the menu at unmute.show, and then they're presented with enter your email address, and then it says enter a password if you have one, or send a single sign-in link. The problem is when you click the login link, you're going from unmute.show to clubunmute.memberful.com. 98%, okay, maybe 90% of the visitors on that aren't going to care. Like they it's going to be similar experience. The page is going to look slightly different, but they're just going to go through that checkout process or go through that login process. I want to give it more of a unified look. So when you're on the sign-in page for your membership site, you still have access to the main unmute.show menu. And if I update that, or not if, when I update that to include shows or to include hosts, then team members, then I can go in there and make those changes. And that's made to the sign up page and the login page as well with Memberful. So would I push for it for you and me more? Yes, because we could do that customization. And then it also gives us the flexibility of, it's an interesting conversation, of being able to just have a tool work and not have to worry about fiddling with the configuration / setup to make it work. When, yes, it's a little more money. Right now with technically working, we probably would not break even on it, of course, but I feel like that would give us, we could start offering people downloads. We could start offering people private podcast feeds, which is all stuff we could do by building things on WordPress on our own. But it's a matter of time and money at that point.
Yeah, well, we could always start, free on Memberful as well, and then
Yeah.
go up to a paid plan once we're getting enough income to cover the cost of that, which as of right now, the tip jar is not enough to support paying for Memberful.
No.
I'm also curious, and we're both actually at this point using Memberful as customers or supporters or whatever they choose to call you. And I'm not sure if it's a side effect of that whole. I'm not sure if it's a side effect of they're not using, none of these sites are using WordPress that I have a membership for. So
Oh, that's funny. They aren't, are they?
No, they don't have that. So they don't have that easy interface. So everybody bounces you out to their Memberful page. However, it could be that it is possible to customize that integration so that people stay on your site or whatever, and they didn't do that work because they're already running on basically very custom front ends for their websites anyway.
Mhm.
One is using a completely custom, framework that they bought that they own, and the other one that I'm a member of, they're using a headless Drupal app. So they're kind of using like a React Native app in front of Drupal and the Drupal API to power their site. So the work to integrate Memberful more tightly with the site may not be worth it. I've not been to anybody's site that I'm a member of that is using WordPress, so I'm not sure what the plugin brings in for you or not. And that'll be interesting to see as you go down that pathway of, exploring this. I'm going to remind you of staging sites.
Staging sites, and I think I have a login to spin up. I'll have to go make sure I can get. Well, I have a login. I think that account has access to the team, but go set up staging sites and then experiment there, and then go live. I'm liking Git. I thought that it was going to be confusing for me, but I'm liking Git.
I told you, man, Git is not a hard. There are concepts in Git that are difficult to grasp, no doubt about it. But the overall the most basic usage of Git really isn't that difficult. It's just knowing the commands that you need to do the basic tasks that you want to accomplish. So, in the class that we're both taking, those commands are fairly basic. Like, those are the foundational commands in Git. Like, I'm not saying it's simple, but those are the foundational commands you need to know. And the only thing that could have potentially have gotten very confusing, and maybe some people, it seems that everybody has grasped it, but the only thing that you start to get into that realm of potential confusion / conflicts is branching.
Mm.
And the only reason that even came up as a topic is just because of how they're operating the student area for you to submit your work or show your work. But other than that, like, those basic commands are simple, and you can see the value of it in several ways, honestly. I mean, having a remote server that you can push to, you don't have to use GitHub. GitHub is just the easiest thing for people to use, but you don't have to. I mean, you could, there's private Git servers everywhere. When I first started using Git, honestly, I was using it on a DreamHost server because Git was a available thing, and I used that as my remote repository. That's how I started to learn Git. It seems like ages ago, but in actuality, it was like maybe 10 years ago, 11 years ago. When
I loved it. What did we do before DigitalOcean and Linode? Actually, I can tell you what we did. What I did is I rented freaking $200 a month servers to run my own VPS setup using Hyper-VM. Oh, don't miss those days.
I did that for a short time, and I decided I don't want to do this. Also, I had not gone down the pathway of understanding optimization and web hosting, and the web was still fairly slow back then too.
Yes.
So having a shared hosting plan on DreamHost that gave you unlimited storage and unlimited bandwidth was a win. Until it wasn't. DigitalOcean, Linode. That's something I've been thinking about here recently too. Is DigitalOcean, Linode.
Vultr.
Other cloud providers. Vultr is one I really want to use, but their web interface is very
convoluted,
irritating. Yeah, and maybe I should look at it in Windows. Like, that's the thing I don't think about as much as I once did. It's like, oh, go look at this in Windows. I'm like, yeah, but I'm on the Mac and I don't have Windows open, and I got to go spin it up or start it up just to go look at this. And if I get there and find out it doesn't work, then I'm really going to be irritated. So you know what? Just screw your site is what I'm going to say. But Vultr, and looking at those services, basically I'm trying to make a decision because I got to do some infrastructure moving. I got my AWS bill. All my AWS credits have expired.
It was nice while it lasted.
Bill that I got to pay, and I looked at that bill and was like, okay, I can pay that, but this is not sustainable. And this ain't gonna be sustainable for a couple of months. If I wasn't, tied up with BEP, I could absolutely, it wouldn't be an issue to pay that bill, honestly, because I would have acquired more customers and wouldn't be suffering some of the business losses that I have suffered. But that ain't the case. Reality is, I could pay that this month. I could probably pay it next month. June rolls around and like somebody gonna be hurting. So let me get off of here. And it's primarily the little ancillary things that I haven't had time to figure out because I still have a Todoist task that says start this AWS training. And there's a link to this AWS training. It's free.
Man, that makes me not look at Todoist. And then I go back because I'm like, I need something that I can keep all these tasks in. And I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't do that. And I didn't do that. You know what? Todoist emailed me the other day, like, you can mark things off that are completed if you're not going to do them.
Yeah. Or if there are things that you need to defer, what I've started doing is I have a like just defer project because
Yeah.
like I'm not going to get to this. I still want to do this, or this at some point needs to be done, but I'm not going to get to it right now. And it's not a high priority thing. And I would say like the AWS class, like I moved that over to my defer project because I'm like, I ain't got time. Like not right now. Now after I take this test on Monday, hopefully if I pass it, if I get back to the congratulations, and then hey, that frees up a lot of my time right there because I won't be studying for ServSafe anymore. Which is what I have been doing all day today, and it's what I'm going to be doing all day tomorrow because I have to pass that test. And
Yeah.
it actually costs us money to take the test because we pay it out. It gets paid for out of the BEP budget, uh, which at this point is I think the way she did this, and I need to check, but I think the way she did this is she actually pulled it out of the money that we use to buy products and stuff, right? So it's whether or not we're up or down our profit and loss that we're tracking. Which means I don't want to fail this and then have to pay another $100 to take this test
Mm.
again. Because then I'll start feeling like I need to come out of my own pocket with that, which
Yep.
ain't something I want to do.
Yeah.
But I've started doing that with things that I need to get to. Like there's some exploratory work I want to do with some different tools for server management, and some things I want to figure out. Like, oh, can I integrate the YubiKey so that I have a pin on the YubiKey, but when it's plugged into the Mac, I can use Touch ID to activate that instead of having to type that pin in when I'm signing, to use that for code signing or whatever. Hadn't gotten to it. So I just added it to the list of, deferred because I still need something to keep track of stuff. And honestly, despite my waffling and going back and forth, and even on occasions over the past 6 months, I'll say maybe probably the prior 3 to 4 months before BEP started, looking at different tools, including exploring OmniFocus again. Todoist is the best tool for the job for me at the moment because of its flexibility. At bare minimum, I'm sorry, bare minimum, you open up the app and do a thing, or you do what I just did and open up Todoist and hit Q and type in create content showing how to create mailbox shortcuts in Mail app.
Yep.
And you hit return and close it, right? I don't have a due date for that, but it's a thing that I'll see in my inbox when I look. But, tasks can be emailed into specific projects or into my inbox in Todoist. I can connect it to other tools like drafts, for example. And, man, what are you going to do on Windows without drafts? I got to sidetrack this for a second.
I feel like
okay.
we've had this problem before. I get frustrated because when I go to Windows, I'm also going to say, oh, let me try this Samsung device. That's going to be a good experience, I say sarcastically at myself. And then about a week and a half into it, I'll be like, how do I take notes? I don't got a way to take notes down. And the worst part about it is Notepad on Windows has turned into freaking text edit. The problem is when you exit Notepad, it keeps all of your, and I can go in and fix this, I just haven't yet. It keeps all of your old documents. That's okay. But when I type Notepad, I don't want to see all of my old documents. I just want a new Notepad document. When I open Notepad, it opens all of my old documents that haven't been saved in their own tabs now.
So like TextMate.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that start. TextMate, on the one hand, that is a great feature because I can easily reboot my computer when stuff got
Yes,
weird.
because that
Come
happens.
back and have all that stuff back.
Yep.
But on the downside, sometimes I'm opening TextMate because I want to write something new, and it's like, oh, geez, man, you opening up 23 documents that say untitled. So it's like untitled up to untitled 23, and I'm like, I don't even know what none of this is.
Yeah.
And
Notepad's a
usually
little.
it's just scratch pad crap.
Notepad's a little better with that because at least it says the first line of the document and then star, and the star tells you that it hasn't been saved yet. So you know what the documents are, but they're still in the way when all I want to do is open a freaking notepad. And it seems like when you get like 8 or 10 of these notepad documents, maybe not quite that many, but it slows things down a little bit. And I'm also hitting some limitations of the Lenovo laptop I'm using right now, which is the Legion, not the other one that they sent me. And so that's another thing is when I get this Windows set up, I want to try using that and see if I have some of the lagginess that I have with the Legion. And I think Apple has kind of broken me because I expect computers to respond instantly. I don't expect there to be any lag, especially with this M1 processor or M2 processor. Like, just work. Let me push my buttons and not have to wait an eighth of a second before JAWS responds. I checked out the NVDA add-on store for the first time, and that's really interesting. Kind of like it. I wish JAWS had a JAWS script store.
Yeah, I think that's one of those scenarios. At least I look at it this way. It's kind of a difference in philosophy, and JAWS started at a different point. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that is in JAWS today would show up as NVDA add-ons as those features come to NVDA, whether not Mozilla, whether NV Access, whether NV Access builds them directly or somebody from the community builds those add-ons, and to me, in a lot of ways, that makes it leaner because if I don't need, feature X, let's say the AI, what is the feature? Is it AI
Picture Smart.
image description?
Yeah.
If I don't want or don't need to use that feature at all, then it's not even in my screen reader for me to, deal with NVDA. Whereas with JAWS, like it's all you got everything, including the kitchen sink and the backyard and the outhouse too. Like it's all there, whether I need that or not, which makes it a more bloated program. I'm not sure if it creates conflicts. I actually still have not used JAWS probably in a good 10 years, other than some random occasions. So I haven't had an opportunity. I haven't had a desire to use it as an everyday screen reader because I already feel overwhelmed by all of the stuff that's in JAWS from just an outsider looking in point of view, which means when I load up JAWS for the first time and start it, there's going to be a lot of stuff I feel like I got to go through before I can just get to work. And NVDA, I'm just working. So I got the few add-ins I need, and I'm done.
I've been calling tech support more for JAWS because I have my JAWS certification, which means I know how to do some book searching and find information to solve the problem so I can pass their test in less than an hour. But I don't know everything about JAWS itself. And I wanted to get rid of some information. I'm like, well, I could spend an hour going through all the JAWS configurations to try to figure it out. And then I called the tech support and he helped me in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, I need to start doing this more. Just get the answers for me real quick.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing. And I didn't think you could. Well, I'm not going to. I won't call attention to that. But I didn't think you could do that. But calling tech support a lot of times will solve when and that again is the value of good customer support, right? Like JAWS, you feel like you can call them and probably get an answer for your queries in most cases, unless you're trying to run JAWS on a server behind a firewall for the government. Then it probably gonna take a little longer. Although to be fair, and I'm not saying that facetiously, I've actually been not the direct affected user, but a consultant in an instance such as that before. And to be fair to JAWS, or at the time it was Freedom Scientific, I'm always going to think of them as Freedom Scientific.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, the problem was more with the IT people for the government agency than it was with JAWS, because the IT people started off by not even asking the right question.
Mm.
And then when asked for information, they didn't provide the correct information. So that started to support people over at Freedom down the wrong pathway to try to help solve their problem. But it still took a long time to get it sorted out. At any rate, I feel like I would spend a lot of time trying to configure JAWS or figuring out stuff. And also, I must admit, despite how much I like running Windows on the Mac and that being something that's just always available right there, so I got both systems in one machine that is in my backpack, it also gets a little frustrating at times because some things don't work. Like my insert key options still don't function the way that they should in Windows for me. Uh,
Yeah.
some of the Windows key shortcuts don't work. Like for example, Windows M takes me to the desktop consistently. Windows B, however, does not take me to the system tray. It does nothing. Like that's what happens. It's nothing.
Huh.
Maybe because for some weird reason that keystroke belongs to
Mac OS
certain
somewhere.
apps on the Mac. So I mean, yeah, but it works like in a text editor or something like. Like Pages, for example, you highlight some text, and I think Command B will bold the
Mm-hmm.
selected text or something. Right? But I'm not in Pages; I'm in Windows. So why can't you let go of my keystrokes, man? Let go of my keystrokes.
There's a show title. So I don't know if anyone noticed that, but I do. I just grab random sentences out of the show to make them the show title, and then AI generates our show notes.
Those are some of the best shows. Is those that grab random stuff from the show itself to make that into a show title. Because when I see, and I know which shows do this for the most part, and which shows don't. So when I see the title of a show, I'm like, what? Sometimes you're like, oh, I guess they were talking about this. But sometimes you're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Who did what?
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example. Most recent, I hadn't listened to it yet either, but the most recent Connected episode I saw was I tried to put my finger in Mike's mouth. Like, what?
What?
Yeah, see?
All right. I'll have to push that one up the priority list because that's that. I haven't listened to that show in a little while, so it'd be a good catch up show maybe.
Oh, man, yeah. So, but weird stuff like that. But it makes it interesting because then you're either trying to figure out when did they say this or what in the world until
Yeah.
you get to the, punchline or something like, oh, okay.
That makes sense.
And sometimes it is just as weird as you thought it was going to be. You're like, oh, yeah, that is super weird. But now I see where it came from. Like, it's not as maybe as weird as, like, what? But it still is weird. But yeah, I noticed that you do that when I do look at the show titles. I'm like, oh, yeah, I think I said that. Or Mike said that. Or something. Sometimes I also don't look at the titles all that often. But occasionally I will look because I'm like, what is Mike doing with these titles over here? Because I don't know. Mike could have went completely rogue in the past 3 months, like, and just did whatever the hell he wanted to do with the edits. Like, I could sound like a robot with auto tune on and everything, and I would not know.
Yeah. Yeah. Although you have some people that listen to your show there, don't you? You've heard a couple of people say that they listen, I think.
I know a couple of people that said they will go listen. They
Ah.
never came back and said nothing
Okay.
after that. I do.
Okay.
I am aware that somebody, at least one person here, does listen to the show. That is a staff member, because a couple of things I have said on the show have been referenced back to me in oblique ways by different people, which means somebody here listens to the show and they make comments to other people, and then it eventually gets back around to me. So yeah, somebody listens. It
Well,
ain't
hello,
nothing who you
somebody.
are.
Now more
I'm not trying to
somebodies
set
can
you
listen
up.
to us on YouTube.
Yeah, listen, tell those people that you're having the conversations with sometimes, and then they come and, make comments or questions that I feel like are directly related to something I only said on my show. Uh, tell them to listen to, instead of you having to always come and tell them, man, he said this, or he's thinking about that, or this came up, and then they come ask me, are you okay? Are things all right? Are you having any problems? Well, yeah, man, I'm fine. 'Cause I'm not here, so we
Oh,
can have
that
a
must have been
conversation.
a good return to class.
So, yeah, we tell your other work associates to listen to the show as well. Like, you don't have to be the only person that listens to see what I'm saying on my show. And just be mindful. There are some conversations I'm not going to have when I'm on the move. Right? I got to be sitting down to say these, which is the reason I say I'm on the show, because I'm sitting down. I'm not moving.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
that's me how I'm doing. How are things going? Are you doing okay now? As I'm walking
Yeah.
somewhere, because the answer is going to be sure.
Sure.
We're gonna stop
Fine.
him.
Things are going good.
Like on not gonna stop and give you a whole litany about everything that's going wrong that I want to tell you about. Even if I want to tell you specifically, like I ain't got time right now. I'm pulling a cart that weighs about 250 pounds, and I'm trying to keep it from running over my heels. So, yeah, everything's great. Hold on one sec. You just sent me a message. I'll make sure the stream didn't break.
Oh, it probably did.
No, no, she was just telling me she's gonna share the YouTube channel on Facebook.
Oh.
I gotta tell you. It remind me to tell you something when we ain't streaming no more.
Sounds like a plan. Speaking of not streaming, I think we're almost at a show.
Oh, it's 10:12.
Yeah,
So
it's a little later
about-
than I thought.
We both. No, it's definitely later than I thought it was. I feel like it was probably like 9:35. If you'd have asked me, I'd have been like, oh, it's probably like 35, 45 hours. So we've been going for a little while.
Yeah.
Because we only had one significant technical glitch that forced me to restart. So, and the stream is still working.
Stream's still working,
Awesome.
and since you reloaded the page, you came back sounding great. We didn't lose any audio after that.
That is excellent. We still need to take a look at this tool that Doug mentioned. I'm guessing
Yes.
we'll never find it. I will eventually make and not that I ain't avoiding nobody, but I just got to figure out some time when I can actually have a chat with Doug, because those are never short.
No.
Even when I called Doug with the intent of it being short. Like,
And
hey,
you
Doug,
need
can
a
you
draft
do like this
open
order
when you
right
call
here?
Doug.
Can you do this thing? And then it still turns into like a 30, 45-minute, hour-long conversation, because that's what happens.
Not complaining, Doug.
Yeah.
Appreciate those
No,
conversations
I'm
for
not
sure.
complaining at all. It's always a good conversation. Like, if it wasn't a good conversation, I'll just hang up. Like, I
Right.
don't care. I'm that rude. Like, I'll be like, listen, I gotta go. But no, it just turns into a conversation that, again, is the catalyst of you might do a podcast. One of us will call the other person for a thing, or to chat about a specific thing real quick. And it was back in the days of Blab and whatnot, and Periscope. Meerkat. Nobody remembers Meerkat. R.I.P. to Meerkat. But we would call to have a quick conversation about a thing and end up, basically doing the show. Which is how we started podcasting. Because there's never short conversations. Even now, on the like really don't talk. Like, this is our time to talk, actually, for most people. If you didn't caught that, like, this has been the time that we consistently talk. Twice a week, I'm pretty sure we're going to speak. The day we record, typically working, and the day we have our AT guys meet.
So reload your page.
Reload my page.
Yep.
Hold on. 'Cause I'm not. We're going to browse the window. I need a Vision Pro so I can just reach out and grab the window.
All right. So Demosi's reloading, and I think he is back now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still can't reach out and grab the page.
No, you can't. You can't. And the funny part is your audio came back perfect when you were talking about reaching out and grabbing the window. But like the last, I'd say 90 seconds before that, you were enough there that I know that you said that this and that really only 2 times a week, we're going to talk. But anyone listening to that would have been like, what is he talking about? So
me and Mike are guaranteed to speak, twice a week. It's been pretty much when we talk to each other. When we do our weekly AT guys meeting and when we're recording Technically Working.
Yep. But maybe after Serve Safe is done, things will change again.
Yeah, man, because, once I gotta pass this shit, man. I gotta pass this Monday because, one, like, then everything from there really is kind of downhill in a sense, because the only thing that we still have to work on tremendously is just, tuning machines, learning more about the inners and how the machines work so we can set our own prices, or at least in my case for sure, being able to walk a sighted person through the process of, setting prices and doing some other stuff on the machines. We learned some stuff this week that we hadn't learned yet, so how to readjust the inside of a specific type of machine to accommodate the type of beverages you're placing in there, whether they're cans or bottles and different size bottles, etc. But once serve safe is out of the way, like that is for me at least, the most stressful part. Dealing with the money, calculating stuff, figuring out when I need to pull products, deciding to move stuff, like those sorts of decisions. Partially is things I've done for a large majority of my life, dealing with inventory and managing that, and thinking about your investment into said inventory and getting the return back on that. Again, things I've dealt with most of my life, learning how to operate more on a business level, I'll say, yeah, more on a business level with that sort of stuff, and really thinking about your working capital and all of that. I picked up, quite a bit working with JJ, and thinking about this, like, oh, how many of these do we need to buy versus how many are we going to sell to get that money back? Because hey, that's going to cost us, I don't know, $11,000 if we get 10 of those things. Uh, Maybe we should
We
buy
need to
five.
make that money because that ties up a lot of money.
That ties up your money, right?
Yep.
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 Until you make it back. And
You
like
need
said,
money to
it's gonna
grow.
move slow. Things are gonna move slow. Then maybe not. Let's buy 10. Maybe let's buy five. And we can always place another order. Like it's not like it's the only time we can order. Like it's a one-time special. No, it's gonna be the
Although there
same
are
price in
those
2 months.
situations too that you have to calculate for when you do
Yep.
get those one-time specials, or I can order more of these, and then you go and order more of these, and then the manufacturer's like, yeah, we're sold out till the end of April, and it's like, oh, well, maybe I should have ordered a couple more that last time. It's just that balancing game.
Yeah, yeah. We've been
So
dealing with some of that too, man. Can you believe we could not get Dr. Pepper for like a whole month? Like Coca-Cola had no Dr. Pepper to sell us for like a whole month.
Michael would be sad. Michael D.
Also, real time follow up, not real time follow up, but I just thought about it, and I did try it today. Sprite Zero, not for me.
Okay, good to know. I had 7-Up Zero the other day. It wasn't horrible, but I think it was 7-Up. I don't remember.
I think I will stick with the original soda if I'm going to drink a soda. I think I will stay away from this. So I tried the Sprite Zero because, unlike diet stuff, I think the zero is the zeroness of a soda means there's zero sugar. So I was like, I'll try that and see what they did here. And, Sprite, you, you can't. It's not terrible. I would drink it if I had to, but I won't go buy it again.
Yeah.
And the only reason I tried one today is because we had an issue with the beverage machine downstairs, and so we had to do some test purchases real quick to see if it actually worked. And so I bought a Sprite Zero. I was like, I gotta buy a soda anyway. I'll buy a Sprite Zero and taste it. And I took a
Not
drink.
for you.
Nope, still got that weird kind of aftertaste on top of whatever the goodness of the soda is. So, would anybody like this? I did not put my mouth on it. I ain't lick it.
Yeah.
Somebody took it off my ass.
Good.
Completely random. It's because I know T is listening. We were talking about Sprite Zero. It's what made me actually think about that. For anybody wondering, like, where in there?
Welcome to the
I wanted to say it before I
conversations
forget about it.
while we technically work. Alrighty.
All right, folks. We want to thank everybody for listening to Technically Working, episode 55.
Yep.
This has been that episode number. We appreciate all of you who listen. Thank you, because you could be listening to any other show, but you are also choosing to listen to us. So please stay subscribed and reach out to us with your feedback. We're feedback at technicallyworking.show. I'm on Mastodon as Damasi, DAMASHE, at unmute.community. He is Payon, PAYOWN, at unmute.community. And as always, an extraordinary thanks to all of our tip jar supporters for not only giving us your time to listen to us, but also contributing with your money. Because, hey, times are hard. And have you seen the price of chicken wings? So thank you. We appreciate all of you.
Boom.
I feel like I had a better outro a while back, and now it's kind of drifted off to something else that I don't feel like it's quite right anymore.
So you gotta work on your outro then. Maybe while you're walking through reloading machines, you can start practicing your outro.
Oh, that'd be weird. Thank you. It's technically working. What is this guy doing over here in the corner, man? That guy's weird as hell.
But people might start listening then.
See, that's Mike's strategy. He's trying to figure out a way to get the show out to people. If you're out there practicing saying technically working a bunch, like, then people will start looking up, what is this technically working this guy's talking about over here? Oh, it's a podcast. I should subscribe to this on YouTube. All right. I see the strategy here.
And on that note, YouTube, we're going to stop streaming, and there's the post-show